Oh my God, I've been muted this whole time. Ah, I've been muted this whole time, man. Oh, duh. This is all south, but I don't care. We still gonna get through it. All right, so we was talking about CrowdStrike. All right, so now that y'all can there's gonna be so much editing going on in this video. I might just take the whole thing down, edit it, and put it back up. But my bad. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? I need to see some comments. I know there's a few of y'all watching. All right, so talk about CrowdStrike. So I know it's a big topic, and many of y'all by now have what's going on, but many of y'all don't know what's going on. So basically, there's this update that went out from this company called CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is basically a cybersecurity company, all right, and it had this software called Falcon that's basically an anti-malware uh, software. Almost think of it like malware bytes or even Windows Defender on your Windows machine. So anyway, now Falcon ironically runs on Linux and it runs on Windows. But in this case, this update came out on Windows. And basically, what this update did was it interacts with a system. It was incorrectly written to where there was a bug in the update. It was incorrectly written. All right. The problem is it went through testing and all their their software development SLDC lifecycle, but made its way to production. That means engineer after engineer approved this change. All right, then overlooked the change more so, or an engineer just forego the um, peer review cycle, and just themselves went from straight from creating the update to making it go live to their production. All right, deploying it to production. And so anyway, this updates happen all the time around the clock. And most companies, most organizations, they update their machines. They have auto updates, right? Well, this update from Falcon, this application that's installed on most Windows machines where CrowdStrike has a contract with that client, because again, they're a cybersecurity firm and Falcon is their anti-malware software. And so they're set up on servers, right? And so servers update periodically, weekly, depends on the organization. Well, this bug went out into production, and it's basically a system driver bug. It interacts with the system driver, not the user interface or user level. It interacts at the root level of the machine. So as soon as the machine boots up, it's a part of the booting up process of the system drives. And so this bug basically interacted, already has an error in it, interacts with the Windows system drive, and it's like a perfect match because this Windows system drive is also faulty. But since it's rarely ever been tampered with, it's not. It's been no issue so far. But anyway, the right kind of bug came and sat in the right type of nest at the wrong time. All right, so this is matrimony made in heaven. And so anyway, long story short, bug caused um, the bug basically caused the error, a memory error, meaning caused the Windows system to try to grab memory that doesn't exist. And as it was just doing that, it caused another Windows security feature, which causes the screen, the blue screen. Whenever there's an error, in this case, it was trying to pull memory that didn't exist. A computer, Windows has set it up to where their developer set it up to the safety mechanism is to blue screen. Most people think when they see a blue screen on the Windows, blue screen of death, that it's the computer is toasted. No, it's actually a sign that your Windows machine is doing its job. All right, because it's like anything. You don't want to get sick and continue operating your day while the sickness is spreading throughout your body. All right. When you get sick, your body's supposed well, all right, not your body, but in this case, a Windows machine shuts down so that the rest of the body doesn't become contaminated with the sickness. Well, this is the same thing that happened in the Windows. The blue screen of death happens to freeze the bug from extending itself throughout the rest of the system. And it's mainly designed to prevent a lot of viruses from getting into the root of a system. So anyway, with all that, geeking out a little bit, it caused a blue screen. Now, when the problem with a blue screen is your OS doesn't work. You can't boot to any programs, your applications. All right. And so if you're a hospital running applications, which most hospitals do, if you're a jail running applications, most do. If you're an airport running applications, you're checking in bags, you're checking in on flight itineraries, etc. If you're a organization and you have software that you use for clients, and everybody just about uses some type of program to run their organization. That's either in the for-profit, private sector, all the way to the feds, the government, local, state government. Well, when you can't run programs because your blue screen, all business stops, all organizational operations stop that rely on any kind of technology. All right. And that's what we experience. All right. And on top of that, it happened at the server level. So it didn't happen at like a user level, where you could easily just replace a faulty user machine on a network with a better machine, especially if you're in the cloud. You can replace VMs all day. Man, what's happening, Joe? What's going on, man? I'm glad somebody here talking to me because I was literally going to continue talking to myself. But it's easy when you're in an organization. It's easy, especially from the cloud perspective. We have virtual desktops all the time. You can easily replace a faulty virtual desktop with a new desktop. However, when it's the server itself that's impacted, you're talking about the DNS, you're talking about web server, you're talking about web app server, you're talking about databases. Like these are server. A server basically is the big boy that generates abilities to different virtual machines, all right, or different computers on the network. All right. And so you're again, think of an organization. You're literally going to the mothership of an organization's system and you're crashing it. It's crashed. All right. Now, that's what happened. Just imagine this happening on 8.8 million servers in 21 different countries. So if there's 8 million servers on 21 different countries, how many devices and personal machines are attached to those servers? And even think of it at work. You use a machine at work. The machine you use at work is likely tied to communicating with some type of server somewhere on the network. So think of that just crashing down. Everybody's out. Now nobody can do their jobs. Nothing can function correctly. Nothing can be documented. That's what happened. That's why this was so catastrophic. In fact, Delta alone reported that they experienced a loss in only 4 days of about $132 million. That's just Delta. All right. The rest of the agencies and organizations globally haven't reported their numbers yet. So, and this is all a part of our cloud news. Of course, you all let me know if one, we're going to deploy this story to the cloud, meaning it's a good story, it's useful, it's pertaining to cloud engineers, cloud security engineers, cloud professionals, or we're going to do two, which is terminate the story if it's not relative to cloud professionals. So y'all let me know in the chat. What's happening, Joe? Joe, you ain't tell me what you're drinking, man. So that's what happened with this CrowdStrike bug. That's why it's been causing so much media attention. It's more than just machines stop working temporarily, people that have access temporarily. What's happening 225 girl? I know you miss me. I know it's been a while. I'm drinking tequila, De Leon, specifically with a little bit of juice. But we're gonna get to it tonight. I can't drink, got a club, gotta do DUI class Saturday. Okay. Yeah, we gonna go with that. Yeah, you don't drink, but and you definitely don't admit to drinking publicly. All right. All right. 225 girl says she's drinking cherry Coke Zero. Oh, I love me them cherry Coke, especially the zeros. That's my go-to right there. Because watching my calories. Um, that's crazy what happened with CrowdStrike. I had applied to a position with them weeks ago. I mean, it's so ironic because I literally a part of my job is I work often with Falcon, with CrowdStrike. Falcon is their application, applying it to various servers, right? And it's going to be funny. And I'm about to be honest with you, it's been quiet from CrowdStrike. Like I usually hear from them every week, and I'm particularly working on tickets that pertain to them. I can't give away too much information because it's the feds. But I haven't heard from them all week. So it's funny listening to the CEO say that, oh, he's been working with organizations getting them back up and he sent out a fix. The problem with that fix is, and here's the problem. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this, and here's why it's so crucial. And here's why it's important to understand the business of cloud technology, not just the practicality of the skills. He sent out a bug. He sent out a fix of the bug. True enough. The problem is the damage is already done. The organization's systems aren't able to boot up without having to troubleshoot, regardless of the bug, because the bug when you send a fix to a bug, when a company or organization sends you a software update, that's great. That's a fix. And it happens all the time. Trust me. There's bugs all the time, and there's solutions organizations put out all the time, every week. And that's fine. That's actually part of what an update is. It's a bug fix. And you all get it in your iPhones when you do annual updates. And that's fine. But if you ever notice with your iPhone, when you do the update, it has to restart and then boot up to your home screen, and then you put your passcode in, right? And then voila, you have your new updates. Well, the problem with a server is, especially with this level of bug that happens at the root level of a server, aka the kernel, it doesn't boot up because the kernel system drives all boot up the server together when they're because it checks each one of the system drives off before it completes a boot up to the programs. It doesn't complete the check off. It stops at the bad bug system drive and then crashes. The whole entire OS just stops. It says, no, we're not going to boot up to any program because we can't get past faulty system drives. So you can't even implement the update. So you have to troubleshoot. And then so let's say you troubleshoot, you spend all this time troubleshooting. Okay. You put all these man hours in troubleshooting, you have your best engineers, or you call in a tech company to come troubleshoot. You then, and let's say they remove Crowdstrike or whatever, they remove the last, go to the last update where it worked, whatever. So now you get this notification that Crowdstrike wants to send you an update that has the bug fix in it. Well, now you have to again call out a IT service, a tech service company, or call out your engineers, because now they have to vet and test out this update before rolling it out back to their servers that are not just in production and staging and QA and dev. Like, it's a whole entire process before they trust you again. So this is how bad, and that's a process that's literally going to take weeks, and probably, depending on some organizations, if they don't have the manpower, months, to be able to roll out that fix. All meanwhile, making your computer vulnerable and susceptible to viruses and to hackers who are operating around the clock. Right? So this is why this is so monumentally bad. But it's a great opportunity for a tech professional. This is going to create a new a reinvigorated renaissance of cloud professionals. It's specifically cloud professionals, tech professionals overall, but definitely cloud professionals. And here's why. Let me read some of these comments. Let me show you some of these comments too. Let's see. Say he drinking some Seagrams. I can give you some insight. Yeah, give us some insight, Trevor. I think I tried to have you in on the host, but you didn't respond to my comment. Because I would have loved if you chimed in as a guest on this specific segment, but respond, so it's all good. But yeah, give us some insight on what you experienced with this, and how did Delta troubleshoot this CrowdStrike bug? Let us know. Let us know in the chat. I'm gonna show you comments. What? Again, give me a 1 if this story needs to be deployed to the cloud, or a 2 if the story needs to be terminated. I mean, it's not relevant to cloud professionals. All right. Said drop the link. I can't. You got to email me, brother. info@bcloud engineers. Then I'll send you the link. I can't just drop the link in the chat, because then anybody gonna try to use that link to hop on. So let me put my email here. There's my email. Okay, we got a 1 from Gucci. What's happening, Gucci? Big Gooch. All right. But yeah, so the issue. So and so you all are starting to get the oh my goodness, so oh yeah, I gotta verify my email so I can check my email. So when Travel sends it, I can send the link. Let me see. Let me make sure I got the yeah, I got the link. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. So yeah, so yeah, so again, so having to do all this testing because you got to make sure the bug will work on your test machines, and you got to make sure the bug can work in your state, and particular, different because most organizations, especially the large ones that have about 300 plus employees, have different services or products they offer to clients, and a different service is literally a different type of product offering or service offering to a client, which probably likely has its own network associated, its own domain associated. So in tech infrastructure, that means that service has its own dev stage, uh, staging environment, QA environment, dev environment, then a production environment. That's how it usually goes. QA, stage, dev, and then production environment. So if you're a company and you sell 10 or 8 different types of products and services, you have 10 or 8 different types of websites. All each of those have at least 4 environments that you have to go through from testing, gradual. So and get just imagine how long this takes. And this is why again this is catastrophic. So it's going to take, and this is why you are even still seeing delays with Delta. 'Cause I know many of them, or not just Delta, but any airlines or any industry or any healthcare industry, there's still delays because it takes time to roll out a fix. All right. And it takes time, and you still have to have some type of virus protection, some type of anti-malware protection, and you have to vet that protection. All right. So again, this is why this is catastrophic. All right, Joe said, I'm thinking of studying. I'm gonna go back and answer your cloud questions. So here's how I'm starting to learn how to break this show down. So we start the first segment of the show doing cloud news. Then we move on to the subject of the night, the topic of the night, and then we're going to end with the Q&A. That's how we're going to do each show going forward. So there's some type of structure going on, so people know what to expect. It's all good. It's all good, Travel. All right. He said he just sent it. Let's see what Travel got to say. Okay, I got you, bro. I'm about to send it to you right now. All right, so that link should work. Make sure you got your camera ready. Make sure you got your sound ready. All right, because it's going to be good. And I had more top cloud news topics to cover. We still gonna get to our main topic tonight, which is about how to win mentors and how to really network in this cloud tech industry. But this is been such a crucial, and there's been so much misinformation going on about this that I want you all to understand, as always, not just the technical precision of becoming a cloud professional, but the business perspective of becoming an efficient cloud professional. You need to learn the business. And talking about this CrowdStrike bug and its effects and fixes is a part of that business. All right, I see my brother in. We about to get all right, man. Now promise me you're not gonna act too much of a fool. All right, promise me you're in a stable environment, and hopefully you got a drink in your hand, Travel. So we're gonna see. All right, so let me just give me a thumbs up, Travel, when you're ready. Okay, all right, you good? All right, so let me add him to the stage.
I'm up here trying to get situated. I've actually been working on a new project, man. Glad to be on your show for a chance, man.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. It's glad to not just be me on.
Yeah,
But
you
no, I'm
need
glad to
that
have
sometime, man. It's hard to be on the panel by yourself, man.
you.
Trying
Hear
to keep
me?
it going.
I mean, we're gonna build regardless, but you dang right. I'd rather share the wealth. You hear me?
Yes, brother. It's good to see two brothers in IT
All right,
on the panel talking instead of talking
absolutely.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, facts. So tell me from your perspective, what have you been experiencing as a tech professional? What Delta? First off, what is it that you do? With Delta in the tech sector, and then tell us about what you experienced when the bug first hit, and then some of the remedies. And just
Well,
for I wanted to say this one thing, preface for the record. So we work for organizations where there's proprietary information, proprietary data. So so I want everybody to know when you post stuff online about tech stuff, just always make sure that you're keeping in contact in mind. You can't give away too much of what you're doing at an organization because you open yourself up for, you'll be in the same position as Crowdstrike, about to get sued your pants off. So, but just know that, share information, but always be smart about it. So, all right, so Travis, so go ahead. The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I volunteered to come on, because of me not being there anymore. I was there in 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go then. Let's go then.
So yeah, I was, people have been like messaging me like, dude, you said this was gonna happen. I said, man, I'm trying to tell you, they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable. Okay, so let me give you a little context. I came on as a BA in like May of 2019. I worked on a few projects there. I worked on a finance project. They were beginning to integrate cloud. Delta has no cloud infrastructure. Like,
I believe
they are in the 80s. They're using systems that's in the 80s, man.
In the 80s, man. I tell people all the time, there's some company somewhere using Windows NT still, 3.5.
Billion dollar companies. I'm not
So you said they
surprised.
brought you in as a VA?
It brought me in as a BA. I came in as a contractor for a BA. Like Delta does a lot of contractors. They very rarely bring in. It's like a 1-to-4 ratio. Like for every one full time they bring in 3 other contractors.
Okay.
And
so
it's kind of.
VA, was you a virtual assistant when you worked for Delta?
Was I a virtual assistant?
You said VA, that was the role?
BA, business analyst.
Oh, BA. Sorry. Okay, got you. BA. Okay, got you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it's a little echo. I think I hear on this live. I don't know if it's me or you, but yeah, business analyst. I'm sorry. Yeah, and for the people in the chat too, is a business analyst. And so yeah, I worked on a finance project, and then they moved me to another project, which was like an HR project where we were like their SAP house. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
SAP, which for the people who may not know that is it's a ERM system. It's an enterprise system that has certain modules. It has a finance module. It has modules for warehouse. It has modules for all different type of entities in the business, right?
Almost like a procurement software, right?
Well, no, they have one that's, well, the ECC or the ERM is a part of that house. It's kind of funny how it's structured. There's a mother system, which is the ECC. Then they have certain modules off of it. They have the HR module. They have the PP, which is I forgot what it was. It's PP, MM, SD, FICO.
SAP has has dozens on top of branches as far as the service offerings. So I'm familiar. Yeah. So SAP is a huge software company. I think they're actually based out of Europe. They've been around for a long time. A lot of BAs do a lot of work at them. A lot of accountants do a lot of interaction with the SAP software. SAP has their own certifications that they also offer. So SAP, I always tell people, if you don't want to become an engineer, do technical route, or if you don't even want to do project management, if you have like a lot of financial background, or you have like a lot of analysts or even some admin skills, like assistant admin skills, etc. SAP is a great route, a great journey to go and build a career out of with those different skills.
Yes, and it's a very niche. It's a very niche area. Like SAP is a world to itself, other than other platforms. So like they're very sought after, because if you know SAP, like you can travel the world and get paid a lot of money, even if you know in a different. Go
So
ahead.
tell us about these vulnerabilities. How did you become the Cleopatra of being able to predict that something like this would happen and impact a system like Delta or like any
Oh,
airline company?
so with these big projects, or so that's what I was trying to land this plane with, giving that context. So I went to
No
the
pun
HR
intended.
project.
Yeah.
The HR project was when they were starting to integrate SAP HANA, which
I
is a
remember Honda. Okay.
SAP HANA is an in-memory database, which it makes data come in like within 13 seconds. Whereas traditional RDMS databases, it takes 30 days minus one for you to get certain data. So it's like real-time data that you're going to get. So this is like the first introduction to getting into the cloud, right?
Absolutely.
So I was assisting with this project. And so as a BA, business analyst, you come in and you look at existing setups, processes, and all that stuff. And
Right.
that's when all the skeletons are starting to show, right?
Oh, really?
So I'm like, okay, so we had to do so there, and then there's a lot of politics that goes on in Delta, like more
Mm,
than any company I've been, because they're very old school. Like the people that have worked at Delta have been there since the '80s too. So
really?
they don't like change too much. They just like the wins. They don't like the struggle. They just like the wins, right?
Okay.
So
It's
they keep
interesting.
going. If it don't break, even if it break, just patch it up and just keep going. But
Wow.
only
And we
because
always
it's
think of Delta to be like this innovative airlines company.
mm. What they will do is they may take an older system and
Yeah.
layer it with some type of front end that looks nice, but the core is still from the '80s. They don't rip everything out. They kind of layer it with with maybe a new front end, a new UI, but it still has those core that core
That.
80 system, right?
Wow. Okay.
Which there are certain applications you can do that with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And but with SAP HANA, you can't do that because it's a whole nother it's cloud. It's like
Yeah.
taking things from the
Yeah.
server,
Yeah.
RDMSs.
And they
Um,
do is that's what they use REST APIs with HANA?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't. You can do that with a traditional database, but with the way the data reads in a HANA database, it reads. It's a in columnar reading database. Like so, most databases like your Teradata, your Oracle, it reads from left to right, down,
Mhm.
up, down, left, right, down, left, right, down. It reads. The computer is reading the data like that.
Mhm.
The way the way that these designers have made HANA, it reads it up, down, up, down, up, down.
Mm.
So you have to go from basics. You have to go back to the scratch to get all of that data, looking all of that data. And you start to see
Mhm.
the demons and the skeletons in the data that they never
Mm.
patched. I mean they kept patching it. They never fixed it. They never modeled the data. And so when you go from an RDMS database
Yeah.
to a SAP HANA, you have
Mhm.
to clean all that data up.
Yeah.
That new
Absolutely.
HANA database will not take that data how it is now. And
Right.
so I started to see how they were working this data. So they
They didn't
had
run into any glitches even?
let me tell you, so the first main project that we had to try to come deliver was a project that took 13 years. 13 years. When I heard they said 13 years this project has been trying to begin, I said, "Oh, this ain't right. Like, why has it been taking 13 years to get this data into, to get the data, just to get the data off of a access database?"
And this is why I tell newbies all the time, like, don't pressure yourself to think that you're supposed to complete a project within a week or two. Doing it on your own and finishing a whole entire project within a month span, you're doing well above what you're going to likely be expected to do in an actual role because you're going to be a part of an actual team that's doing a project. And in a lot of cases, due to the bureaucracy and a lot of just slow moving pieces,
Politics.
a lot of peer review, it takes so much. Your tasks are going to be marginal and menial, grander over time as you complete the project. But you're literally moving bricks of the project over versus like you know you're not going to be expected to take on a Goliath project by yourself. So like people get surprised at figuring out like, oh, they like, oh, I got to complete this project within them. When you get in an organization, it's it's not, and I made this post. It's not going to. This is why it's impressive. In my last boot camp, I had my students build a 3-tier architecture because most organizations don't build any kind of architecture within a year. It just takes the time it takes to get things done. It's long. So for you saying 13 years, a lot of people aren't going to believe that and don't know how that is even possible. So can you even kind of explain why a project, a simple task such as migrating a database from an older database to a new SAP database, without even getting into super technical weeds, but just why, just as an experienced vet like yourself, would something like that take so long?
Well, I always tell people this: the the projects are not complicated; it's the people.
Mm,
And I say this again: the projects, the things you said, the things that you are working with people
hmm
with to learn,
Yeah,
it can be learned by the average person. The
absolutely,
complicated part in any project is the
absolutely.
people you work with, the clients you work with,
Mhm.
the VPs you work with. It's really, if you can manage people, you can manage a project. It's not even the data. The data is going to be the data. You know, the data don't change from either company you go to. It's going to be the same data. It may be different in context, but it's still ones and O's. Like you go back to old computer science, it's all ones and zeros. You know, that's all the computer can know is ones and zeros. You know,
I got, I'm glad we're gonna have this talking tonight about networking, but because most of this, your success in this industry in tech and especially in cloud tech, most of it is going to be based off of your non-social technical skills, not your technical application skills. You know,
yes.
20% technical application, 80% social
Woo.
application. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, go ahead, rest of your story. I'm gonna let you finish up.
So, so I'm looking at this project and I'm saying, wow, it took 13 years. I mean, I was only like three years at that time, 4 years maybe into working in projects. So I'm like, what's going on? So why it happened, and like I said, it all boils down to people. The 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 deliverable was to take tech ops, ramp agents, customer service, uh, gate agents, all their it was called bid in the war. It's like a time that, like when people are like in a warehouse, they bid for time. It
hmm
was called bid in the war.
hmm
So they have to, and then it was trying to just redo the whole process of how they do their time, and all that stuff. So bringing in S4 HANA will give them a lot more tracking SLAs, understanding what the data is. They can
Gotcha,
layer it with certain Salesforce, Tableau, get these cool little charts and stuff like that, right?
gotcha.
And so this one guy, which is the VP,
hmm
we like,
What's
man, what's going, what's I'm like, why do they have, they brought in 2 Indian guys to
hmm
help this guy. And I was like, who is this guy? They like, he's the VP. And I was like, well, he's on a lot of calls. And so that my manager wanted me to get on this call with her because she's like a lead over those 2 developers and with this guy. And so she was like, oh no, he's the guy that really takes this data from the old system. He's kind of like the middleman. He massages the data. He takes it from the 80s system and he brings it into an access database. He takes over 30,000 people from Delta's information and he enters it into an access database. And I said, how can he work that much data in a access database?
Right.
And it was like that's the only connection between from the old system to the ECC system where it goes through those modules and it goes to payroll and all that stuff. People get paid their money. So I was
Yeah.
like, you mean to tell me $1 billion company like Delta, this guy, he doesn't even have it on the network. He has it on his desktop.
Oh my God, man.
I said, do you know if something happened to that desktop, that's going to be catastrophic? Like you're going to lose a lot of people's paychecks. If something happens to that, it's not even in the cloud. It's not even on the network. It's in his freaking. And so he held the. He he was the one that held this up because you know how much this guy was retired. They brought him back because he had so many tables in Access. Like when I looked at his Access database, I said, God, I didn't know you could even do that with Access. He was an Access master. So that's why they brought the two Indians in to break the code because he would always miss meetings. He was holding the company prisoner because you know how much they was paying him an hour to come back because he had retired. You know how much they was paying him an hour to come back because he was keeping the data. They was paying him like $180 an hour to come back and like be able to get those data to put them in a file so they can send them to the ECC so they can be taken out. But we needed like a sample file of that data in order to do the migration. So you know when you do a migration, you need a sample file in order to build out the target table in the target database. So we couldn't get that from him because he would be missing dates and he would be the one holding it up because the data is where you start on any project. Any type of migration, you start at the data. Who's the data steward? Who's the data owner? He is.
On his laptop.
On his laptop.
Yeah.
And so he had those two.
It's a multi-billion-dollar company. I just wanted to say, and that's why when most people, I try to encourage most people, especially people who aren't techie and people who just follow the content, especially with this whole new AI thing, is that don't, and we saw this with Rabbit AI, don't let the newness and the zeal of these products, these tech products, these end-of-life tech softwares fool you that we're super innovative as a entity, as an industry, that we're super innovative and on a cutting edge. Those are the end products. The infrastructure behind these organizations, and these are multi-billion organizations, will astound you. We don't even have, if you ever go, and I don't know what state you live in?
Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, so you're in the city. All right. So if anybody who's from the city or whatever, ever just drive out to Savannah, from Atlanta to Savannah, it's so many, you're going to lose service so many times before you get to Savannah because the infrastructure just isn't there. So for you, those of you who thinking all these new AI this and Bitcoin, cryptocurrency there, or whatever, I'm not saying that these things aren't cool products. I'm saying the innovation that you think that you're being sold, that these items, products, and softwares will do, and these organizations are, you're being sold more of a dream than actuality, the reality that it can actually deliver on the innovation because of things, stories like Travis telling us. Like this is, again, Delta has been at this point. You're talking about in the mid 2000s and what, 2019, 2015.
2019.
So this Delta been around at least since the 70s. You know, but they're still relying on one guy at this point who has critical data for this migration, this huge migration on critical data freaking laptop. Go ahead. So when this vulnerability happened with CrowdStrike, you're not surprised that the lackluster of recovery Delta has been able to do.
I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner with something like that. And I think sometimes, like they have safety, they have their own little crafty safety mechanisms to help prevent that. But when when you're dependent on CrowdStrike, they just was left vulnerable like that. And I think, they have their way of protecting themselves. I would like to say that. Their little patches that they do. But something like this that caught them off guard from an external source is where they got caught and got exposed. And it's so funny. They're still dealing with that. And I said they're going to be dealing with that until next week. As you were saying when you was on the you started your show, you said like this thing doesn't fix in days. It takes weeks and months. especially when your infrastructure is like antique. It's going to take even longer. So this is good for your people.
Mm-hmm.
And I say your people because if they were in the cloud
Mm-hmm.
and you got zones where,
There you
you
go.
got
That
the
was some
server
calls. Yep.
on this zone, you can easily within minutes switch to another
All
zone
over.
and everything goes back smooth. But when you got servers in, their service is in Kennesaw.
Yeah.
Their service system is in all their servers for Delta are in Kennesaw. That's
That
not
is, guys, that is so wild because, like, y'all have to understand, like, if anything happens like, that's not enough of a failover safety net to have your facility physically in one or two locations. It's not enough. Too much can
mm-mm,
happen. Too much widespread damage can happen. Something can happen to the Kennesaw servers or their systems that monitor the servers. Boom, they wiped out. You wiped out. And these are $1 million fixes that you have to make. That's costing you millions of dollars, probably by the hour.
right.
So like this stuff isn't a small. This stuff is uh, it's a big lesson to professionals going into this field. Gives you the opportunity to really hone in on your skills of disaster recovery methods. If you really want to impress a company, if you really want to dress up your resume in a pretty easy way with easier projects, because most companies lack infrastructure, and if they lack just infrastructure, like you mentioned earlier about the laptop, the disaster recovery methods are even more so lackluster, and
Hmm.
not currently always tested, not always vetted out. So the opportunity for tech professionals is going to continue to grow, but this just pleads the case even more for companies to have to uh, spend a truckload on tech professionals because they found out during this outage they don't physically have enough manpower to support bringing their systems online, especially when you have to get down and start doing stuff manually, bringing systems on manually, one by one,
Hmm.
or one group at a time. You know,
Hmm.
because I know myself, I worked at least 12 hours on Friday. You know, and so we have an adequate number of professionals. So I can only know dealing with a company that doesn't have that much manpower, that much technical precision, like as far as skill set. Like I know, and a company like Delta, like we can't be cheap. Can't be cheap on the tech that's making you money. You hear me? So
Yeah, yeah. Um,
yeah. So I'm gonna give you a closing thoughts because I need to get to this topic so before I get out of here. But
yeah.
your closing thoughts and then where people can reach you.
Um, I would say this is a great opportunity. Um, you're going to have a lot of companies that are looking to go to the cloud, so they need more people to, work on that project. Um, and because another company that I actually left maybe a month before that, I mean a year before this happened, was at Equifax. And
Ooh.
Equifax, I wasn't in IT at that time. I was just doing something else there. But their
Mhm.
systems are from the 70s and 80s too. And they got hacked,
Mm.
and they went to, I want to say, Google Cloud, I want to say,
Mhm.
or AWS. I think they went to Google Cloud. But they
Mhm.
did a big rollout of, hey, if you know any type of Google Cloud, we
Mm.
need you. So
Mm.
look for the next year or so.
Mhm.
Delta going to be hiring a lot of cloud professionals because they got
Mm.
a lot of work to do.
Mm.
I foresee that. I foresaw this happening, not in
Yeah.
this
You
capacity,
called
but
it. You called it.
um, I foresee them. They took a lot of money. They even lost $6 on their stock price, which that's a lot too to lose that quick. So yeah, if you
Yeah.
did a call on that,
CrowdStrike dropped $11 within the first, I think, like 3 hours.
wow. Yeah, yeah, Crowdstrike dropped. I didn't check them, but I wanted to see what Delta was doing because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. All
Yeah.
right. So where can people reach you if they have any questions?
Oh man, I'm on right there, Travelmatic, man. I talk about all things travel, remote working. I had you on to talk about cloud engineering because I like what you're doing over here, man.
I appreciate that, brother.
This
I
this
appreciate
this guy, hey, I'm telling you, you ain't got too many brothers in here that's gonna do it and not knock your head off. People be charging the $5,000. I'm like, what? Like, man, I'm self-taught, man. Like, you really
it.
don't have to do that, man. But I try to pay it forward like the Indians, man. The Indians,
Yeah.
they taught me everything I know. And I see they do the same thing for their own. So I'm trying to do it for my people too. So come
Yes,
check
sir.
me out, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah, y'all go check out his YouTube channel, man, and y'all be sure to subscribe. All right, brother, I'm gonna let you go. You have a great one, man. Appreciate
All
you for
right now.
joining on, man. We got to do this
Yes,
again.
sir. Yeah,
All right,
for sure.
all right. Man, that was great, man. Great insight. Great insight. I got to get into these topics. I got to get into these topics, y'all. One, my laptop died. Two, I'm tired. Three, um, I forgot three, but yeah, I think that's enough. But let's get into these topics. Y'all. I know. Oh, three is I've held out on the topic long enough. You know, a lot of people here they probably tired of hearing about Crowdstrike, and they're like, "Look, let's just get to it." Okay. So here's where we're gonna get to the topics tonight. The topics are basically, it's how to win network. How to win. Let me make sure. Let me create a banner for it. Um, how to win in networking as a cloud pro. Okay. It was how to win network, how to network, and how to network and win mentors. But this is kind of all one and the same. All right. So if you're ready for the first tip, let me see a one in the chat. After this, we're gonna do Q&A. So get your questions ready. I'm gonna go over the questions tonight. I'm gonna go back through the list of comments and go to the questions. I appreciate y'all for joining me now. Look, I know I started off late. You know, I know I started off the first 15 minutes on mute or 10 minutes on mute, probably more so 3 minutes, but I'm exaggerating. You know, but I appreciate y'all coming back. And I know it's been forever since y'all seen me. But just know your boy been busy, being HOA president, being a husband, being a professional at work, building a business. Like this stuff it easily gets overwhelmed. And building this channel, this stuff gets just easily overwhelmed. And I'm just one man, you know. So even though I get help from a lot of people, it's still a lot of work, you know, and sometimes I just get burnt out. And especially coming back, I had my Italy trip, and then I had to turn around and do another trip, and I had other obligations. It was a lot going on. So I had to take at least a month off from you guys. But I've still been posting. I post content daily. If you follow me on Facebook, on Instagram specifically, and LinkedIn, and even now Twitter, I post daily. Like I'm giving cloud content daily. I might not do a video, a show, live tech at night, but I'm always posting. You're always getting content out of me. And then plus I had summer boot camp. Can't forget that. So it was a lot. So, but I'm back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm be back in here again next Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. I'm gonna probably do 8 p.m., 7:30, 8 p.m. But I don't know. Anyway, let's go into the topic. So let me see some ones if you're ready for the show topic. Let me see some ones in the chat. I need the number one in the chat. If you're ready for the first tip how to win as a networking pro. It's professional. It's crucial as a cloud professional that you have high level networking skills, even more so than technical skills, because your social skills are going to get you further in this industry than technical skills. I've seen a lot, and here's the main reason why is because a lot of tech practitioners that I've come across and that I see in the industry, they get very they get stuck in a certain role, and even a lot of organizations hide them within certain roles to kind of keep them in that role, that crucial role, because they're really good at their job. They have great technical prowess, but due to them not having the social skills and know how to socially navigate the landscape, they never rise from that position to higher positions. All right, definitely within the same organization or different organizations. They never take advantage of they really never hone their potential because they're just become constant practitioners of the trade, you know, of the cloud skills. They don't develop the social mobility part that it takes to be a high level performing professional. So I want you guys to have both. Again, it gives you that competitive advantage, and that's definitely what I teach in my boot camp as well. All right, so we ready? We got some ones here. Cool. So let's go. The first tip. Let me close this box. The first tip is You all might think this is obvious, and some of you all who work from home, remote workers may hate this tip, but it's undefeated. All right, never fails. You got to do it. Attend industry events. All right. You have to attend industry events. Now, it doesn't always mean in person, some are online, virtual, but you got to rub shoulders with people who are not just leading in the industry, in the cloud tech industry, whether it's cybersecurity, cloud networking, cloud engineers, cloud infrastructure, cloud admin, cloud sales, whatever. Not just the people who are at the top, who have a lot of followers, who have a huge following, who have a booming podcast or a booming whatever business. Don't just go and follow those the hype, the people that's promoted on the flyers or the event or the organizations. It's the people who are on their way up, who are working their way up, the people who don't have a lot of followers, but they're working their butt off. Because I've seen it happen time after time again, not just in the cloud tech industry, but every industry I've been across, but especially in this cloud industry. People who do the work now, and they're usually they usually have great work ethic, and that work ethic carries over time, and they end up building a following. And before you know it, boom, they have a huge following. They're considered an influencer in the space. They got 30,000 followers. They got 500,000 views, et cetera, et cetera. They're a mover and shaker. They're working for the top organizations. They're working for big tech companies. And just a couple of years ago, they was just posting projects on their LinkedIn feeds or whatever, and nobody paid attention. But they attended industry events. They rubbed shoulders with people. They got opportunities. This is how you get your job opportunities. This is how you get the latest information on what type of projects and certifications you need to be pursuing. This is how you learn about the trends and insider, get an inside bird view of what it's actually like to be in that specific tech role you're aiming towards. You have to attend industry events. All right. You have to. All right. It doesn't always have to be in person. Again, it can be online. It can be things. It can be virtual events or what have you. But you got to rub shoulders with people who are also trying to make it in this industry. Again, not just the top dogs, but those who have that dog in them. Those who are building and working, and y'all connected and rubbing shoulders. All right. If you're ready for number two, give me a two in the chat. If you're ready for two, give me a two in the chat. I need to see some twos. Y'all know I'm all about interaction. Give me some twos if you're ready for number two. And yes, job fairs count as industry events. All right, cool. 225 girl. I knew you always gonna go show me some love. You and Joe, I appreciate y'all for being the most active today. I really appreciate that. I need to start giving out prizes, don't I? That's what I'm gonna start doing. All right. Number two, online presence. Now I know some of y'all thinking, oh, I don't want to be an influencer, I don't want to be famous. I just want to get the money. I just want to do the work. I just love tech. I just want to do innovative work. We're in a new age. All right. It's not saying you have to be famous, but you need to, and I talk about this, I teach this a lot in my boot camp. You have to let the hiring professionals know, and people, not just the organizations that's hiring for employees, but hiring professionals as far as businesses looking to find business owners who deliver cloud services for anything. You have to let them know that you're there, because they do Google searches, they do searches in various social media apps, they do searches everywhere to look for help. And if you're not showing yourself up as the help agent, they're not going to know that you exist. All right. You're going to miss opportunities by not creating an online presence. And in my bootcamp, we do this by encouraging students to post your progress of your projects. And we've talked about this on Tech and Night before about posting your projects. Don't just post the end result of the project being done. Post the process of how you started, what you did the day two, day three, day four. Mercedes, who I had on, is a prime example of this. Who I had on as I think a Splunk security engineer. We did a tech and night where we did it on lunchtime about a couple months ago. She just literally would just post her projects every day, her Splunk projects, and she finally got an opportunity by it was a tech company reached out to her, saw her repo, and hired her. They hired her on, I think, as a DevOps engineer. Was her first one of her first cloud roles. And she just did that by just she got herself the opportunity by just building an online presence. Didn't have to be an expert, didn't have to be a know-it-all. Nobody likes a know-it-all anyway. Didn't be a know-it-all. You just show that you got that dog in it. You showing up every day, you clocking in, just showing that you're doing work. And then you don't have to post every day. You can post periodically, but you gotta show, your repos, you can use medium.com, you can use LinkedIn news, you can use Facebook, whatever, Instagram, whatever, but you have to show your online presence. That's a part of your portfolio. Some companies are even asking for your social media. Not to be nosy about you, but they just want to know if you're actually, care about the type of work that you're, of the role that you're applying for. You care about the tech industry, or what cool things you're doing, or to even see if you will be an asset to a company based on the type of following that you have, or to check on the type of personality or temperament you have. But you have to build an online presence. All right. And I know many of y'all, some even like me, like you don't want your company knowing that you on online, and I'm big on that. That's why I keep a job behind. Like none of my current stuff is on my LinkedIn profiles or any of my professional profile. I would keep the public a year or two behind. But that is a part of the risk reward system, and that's why you can not add anybody coming in from your organization or create a separate account. As I encourage boot camp students who are transitioning over but don't want the current organization to know they're making a transition, I say create an alternative account, but you have to build that online presence. All right, that's a essential part of networking. These are all ways to win at networking and to win a mentor over it, especially. All right, so if you're ready for number three, let me get a three in the chat. Oh man, I appreciate all these tools, man. That's one to I appreciate that, Charles. Appreciate that, Matt. Oh, hold on one second, y'all. Let me get my charger. One second, one second. All right, y'all. I'm back. I'm back. Okay, threes. We got threes ready. Cool. Okay, number three. Number three. And I gotta put this because I get this a lot. So let's see. Number three. Personalized outreach. Get this all the time. I've literally blocked guys who reach out to me in this way. I do a lot of blocking actually. I ignore guys. I leave guys on red, and I say guys because it's most of the dudes that are terrible at this. But you see this on LinkedIn all the time too. People want to connect with you because they see you might have a little motion or what have you, or they like what you're doing or what have you. Or even they want to present an opportunity. They say, "Oh yeah, I saw your background and da 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 da. I want to reach out to you." And it's like, yeah, but you haven't like what background? Like I've heard, like you could tell somebody pulled it off some profile I had way back then, or like some totally unrelated. Yeah, like, oh yeah, you with the company such and such. I'm like, I haven't worked for that company in like 6 years. What are you talking about? Do we need like do we need any of your services, or do we need any help, or like just when you like I just get bland. Hey, I would love to connect with you, add to my network. Like make it personal when you reach out to people. Be specific in what it is that you desire, that you want, but more so just do some background research on a person. Like really go over their post, really go over what it is that they're doing, and make sure you include that in this. Like what about that person is making you reach out to them, that's current. You know, is it an organization they work for? Is it a specific topic? Topics are great. Topics separate you from the rest. You know, if you specially speak on a topic, you share your thoughts temporarily on a topic, you know, and you just want to network, you just want to make the connection. But you share, like you share, well, I saw you spoke on da 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 da, and I thought that da 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 da, and hey, you know, my name is such and such, and I'm from da 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 da, and I would love to connect with you. Boom, you just set yourself, because then they respond with, I never thought about that, or oh, that's interesting, or yeah, you know what, that's crazy because I was just saying, like that's how you network. Make it personal. It's too much lazy networking going on. You have a copy and paste template, and you think you're gonna send it to 100 people, and you're gonna hope one or two out of that 100 hits. Well, okay, let's say one or two hits, but you missed out on opportunity of winning over 15 to 30 people by just taking the time out and personalize your message. You're going to get a lot further faster by being personal, by just caring a little bit more, put more detailed info in your approach. So just have a personalized reach when you reach out to someone. You know, hey, I saw you live and you talked about da 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 da. My thoughts on da 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 is that I think that da 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 da, and I will, you know, just to connect on da 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 da. I'm seeking a mentor, da 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 da. You know, that make it personal, you know, so that that people know that you took the time out to care about what they have going on, that will make them care about what you have going, if that makes sense. All right, that's number three. All right, so if you're ready for number four, give me a four in the chat. Give me a four in the chat. We got five of these total. This fourth one gets on my nerves, and this is something I definitely want. I would want. I've definitely blocked people for this one. I mean, I blocked for the third one as well, but I definitely will ignore you if you fail at this, because just you just work too hard and you help too much and you contribute too much. I get this type of message. All right. So if you're ready for the fourth tip, give me a four in the chat. Cool. Okay, cool, Charlie. All right, Charlie, appreciate it. Okay, cool. Number four, offer value. When you reach out to some, I get this all the time. Can you mentor me? Can you give me advice? Tell me what projects to do, what certification to do. Or I live in a small town or small village. Da 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 da. Da. I help all the time, and I don't always help with a price tag. You know, nowadays I do because you know time is valuable. But most cases, I help, you know, for free. That's why all the content I provide on a daily basis is free. That's why a lot of the one-on-ones I do via DMs are free. Like I help free, and I spent most of my cloud career, the first 3 years of it, just doing giving away free stuff. All right. So I love helping people, and I love helping people who are dogs who are going to do the work. But if you're going to approach somebody, and I learned this, this is a essential part of networking. This is what I had even learned. This is how a friend connected me with somebody today on the call, and one of the remarks they made about me is my uncanny ability to network with people over the years. She known me for like 12 years or even more, but she said just my ability to network. Well, it's because I found early on, when you approach somebody and you want something from them, you need to first contribute. All right. You need to offer value. Why would it be valuable for me to help you? All right. It's not from a standpoint of I'm better than you, or I'm doing better than you, or I know more than you. No, it's not, because that person that you're reaching out to for mentorship or for guidance, you have to keep in mind they've helped likely 8 people within that month span, and didn't ask for anything or got little to nothing in return for their time. All right. And they've been doing this for years. So just because you come mostly along the way, and you think you're super important and they're supposed to respond to you and they're supposed to help you all for free, with you offering them nothing in return in value, like you got the world messed up. You're not going to get far, people. You're not going to get far in networking. You're definitely not going to win any mentors over. So you need to come offering value. What I used to do is I would come off rip, say, hey, I would say, hey, can I pay for your time? Can I book some time with you? Or if there was one person I knew, and this is when I didn't have any money, I would offer to buy her Starbucks. Not I'm gonna take her out to coffee. But I would literally say, hey, what's your cash app? I'm gonna send you some Starbucks. And I wouldn't even send the money. I wouldn't when I sent the money to pay for things or and I offered people the money to just to buy little trinkets and things. I wouldn't ask for the favor right then and there. I would say, hey, can you mind if I do this and that for you? They say, sure. Boom, take care of it. I send it to them or whatever. And then maybe a week or two later, I reach out and say, hey, so what do you think about da 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 da? And they're going to pay attention to my message because they're going to be like, well, he did offer me value. He did help me out or he did do something for me or he did offer something like you come giving like and that's another thing I would also do when I was flat broke. I would say, what can I do to help you out? Now I wouldn't even later in the message mention that I need a mentor, mention that I need help, whatever. I would say, what do you need help with? What kind of assistance can I what kind of assistant do you need? Like I would be a temporary assistant. Need me to make calls for you. You need me to how I got my first tech role and my first and this having this on my resume or my first work experience, cloud tech experience, was I reached out to a friend who was posting about trouble they had with their AWS server, and I said, hey, let me fix that for you. And I fixed that for him, right? And I put that on my resume, and boom, it led to about it led to about my first two cloud tech roles because they asked me about the job in my resume, all because I came offering value. That reciprocated. All right. That I didn't that it didn't reciprocate from that person. I didn't get anything from that person directly. Like I didn't request anything from them, but I offered value and I knew in return I got work experience from an organization because they had a company. Now I knew I could add that company to my resume. You got to be innovative. You have to offer value. When you reach out to somebody, this is why a part of that personalized message, because it's going to require you to have to do a background check on who this person is and things that they're interested in and things that they may need. And that's how you can fulfill that void. And that's how you can prove yourself to be a value of that person. And that's how you can get things and win people over. That's how you can network with people and connect with people. And that's how you win people over. Contribute first before you look to have your hand out to receive something from somebody. Am I making sense so far? All right, if y'all ready for the last one, and again, I block a lot of people and ignore a lot of DMs when people just say, "Hey, I need help with this," and then they'll get mad and say, say things and try to be mean or whatever. Oh, I'm the last person to care. But it's like I want you all to win and win the right way because you have to be a professional about this. You can't nobody's gonna have empathy. Everybody's had a hard road to get here, especially a person who's self-taught. They had some of the hardest roads. Of course, they ain't trying to give out nothing for free because they didn't nothing they got was for free. And so if you have a lot to learn from that person, if you just approach it the right way. And one of the right ways is coming to them, approaching value. I'll tell you even one more quick story. There was a guy, and this is recent, and I don't want y'all rest of y'all Chinese, but it was clever. There was a guy who reached out to me. He knew I was going to Memphis, and he happened to be visiting or staying in Memphis or what have you. And he's like, look, I can't afford your one-on-ones. However, I would love to take you out for lunch when you in Memphis. And I'd say, okay. I said, oh, you know what? I respect that. That's innovative because that's something I would do if I was in his position. I said, yeah, I took him up on that. So um, we end up, following through with that, whatever. And, we end up, and he got a lot of information out of me. He got free mentorship out of me out of that. He also got discounts on my boot camp. He's going to be a part of my boot camp this upcoming winter. And he's won a mentor. I've decided to mentor him, just because he showed that type of ingenuitive thinking, and it showed me that he's a dog. He's willing to do what it takes with because the goal in being successful isn't an abundance of resources. It's how resourceful can you be, all right? Abundantly. All right. So it's dogs like that that show me that he's gonna be somebody, and he's gonna most importantly, take the time that I give him and the advice I give him, and he's gonna utilize it. He's not gonna waste it because you often find that too with a lot of mentors and people, who are often getting sat off there. We've sat with dozens and dozens of people and had the dozens of the same conversations, and in most cases, they don't do anything. So yeah, that's why they get to this point where they become stoic and don't want to hear anything or don't want to help anybody. and they, or don't want to help you. I wouldn't say anybody because they're still helping people, but don't want to help you in a way on your terms. They've seen this movie before, especially with somebody that's on the fence. So they're like, if you're gonna take up my time, it better be worth my time. So that's one offer value. All right. So last but not least, let me see some files in the chat. Some files in the chat. It's a block party. What's happening, Dalton, man? What's going on, man? Yeah, you late, man. You don't missed a lot. I don't been late. I've been mute. We don't have guest on travel. Travel came and gave us a pleasant surprise with his Delta story, man. But you're gonna catch up. You just might have to go to the 15-minute mark before it get good. All right. So last one. Nurture relationships. This is also a big one. Just because somebody's not useful for you now, because now you got what you needed out of them, doesn't mean you're not going to ever need them again. All right. You have to, and I'm big on this, nurturing relationships. Just check in on people. How you doing? What you've been up to? And then when they tell you how they doing and what you've been up to, you might not have to do it right then and there, but eventually respond. I say, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. Wow. That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I was just checking on you. Da, 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 da. Well, I'm doing it. And I do this all the time with a lot of my favorite ex-coworkers of the past. I just nurture those relationships. Even if I'm not ever going to work for the organization again, or I'm probably never going to ever work with these people again. I nurture those relationships because it's just valuable. You never know when you're going to need somebody. And on top of that, it's just it's just good practice in being able to socialize with people who have done for you in the past. It's good virtue. It's good energy. All right. So nurture your relationships. Don't treat everything as it has to be an output goal for you. All right. Because when you lead with that, you're going to lose with that. All right. You're going to miss out a lot of opportunities and a lot of people by just always it got to be about you. Nurture your relationships. Again, even people, they don't have to be people at the top and people who are doing great things. They need to be mostly people who are climbing just like you're climbing, people who are working just like you're working. Nurture those relationships. Share info, share news that you come across, share tips that you come across, share vouchers that you come across. Like, nurture your relationships. All right. All right. So let's get into these Q&As. Let's see. You know the rules, Breakthrough Crew. Tell me what you're drinking and then ask your cloud questions. By the way, let me go through some of these comments. So about ready to get out of here, y'all. I'm beat. Well, we don't have a great night. All right. So we go back to the top. Yeah, some of y'all had good questions. All right. MJ said, "What do you recommend for a newbie who wants to learn?" I don't know what that means. Like, y'all know how I rock. Specify, be specific in your questions, so I can give you specific answers. What do I recommend for a newbie who wants to learn? Brush your teeth every day. No, I'm not gonna be that harsh, but projects and certifications. That's what I always tell every newbie. The goal is projects and certifications. It's not either or, it's both. All right. In order to break into the industry and grow in the industry, projects and certifications. All right, specifically tailored towards the type of roles that you want. So if you want to be a cloud networking engineer, cloud security engineer, cloud infrastructure engineer, cloud admin, you need to be doing those type of projects. All right. You need to do certifications that service those type of roles. And you don't need to get a lot of certifications. Don't spend your time certification. Spend your time project building. It's more necessary to build the skills than it is to always have the latest certification. All right. Let's see what else we got. Any tips on how to land an entry level cyber role as a new grad? Mm, I'm not a cyber expert per se, because a lot of cyber people want to do a lot of on-premise work and I find a lot of cybersecurity roles, a lot of traditional roles. More so, I can teach you how to get in cloud security. When it comes to cloud security, you need to focus on doing cloud security projects. You need to first off find a cloud environment that you want to specialize in to start off. That can be Azure, Google Cloud, Amazon, even Oracle, and do cloud security projects. Whether that's um, uh, IM provisioning projects, that's security group projects, disaster failover projects. That's doing um, setting up Sentinel for Azure, setting up scene agents on cloud servers for a cloud environment. Whatever, the list goes on and on. As well as cloud certifications, cloud security certifications. That's the tip for you as a new grad. It's funny because people come out of college and still it's not enough. They still find themselves having to do the things that self-starters have to do, which is certifications and projects. After all their education, find it to be, wild, to say the least. But yeah, appreciate that question, Rich. And that comment wasn't towards you directly, but just I see that a lot in the industry. All right. Questions y'all got? What questions y'all got? Share consumer report quick. That's funny. All right. So let me see. Let's go back and post this. All right. So yeah, what are your cloud tech questions? Drinking water. Drinking water. All right. I'm drinking water as usual. What type of laptop would you recommend in terms of RAM and GPU for cloud? That's a good question. I actually don't get that a lot. Usually get that for boot camp, but I don't get that a lot just in general. So here's the thing: you don't need a Mac, believe it or not, when it comes to preparing for your cloud training, doing your cloud training. That's when I say cloud training, that's doing your projects and doing your certifications. You don't need like a super advanced Mac. You really kind of just need anything that can take Windows 11 or the latest Linux OS or Mac OS. So anything Windows 11 further, anything with a OS operating system that's come out in the last 3 to 4 years. And I would say RAM wise, because you can even use a ThinkPad. RAM wise, you can get I would say anything with at least 6 gigs of RAM. 4 bare minimum, but it's going to run hot because of the different applications you're going to have running, especially if you try to create a infrastructure as code environment. You're going to have different applications running at the same time, so it can get hot if you have 4 gigs. So 6 gigs it up, and I say that because also when you create CPUs, cloud servers, you're usually using like 2 VPCUs. So on your personal machine, you want to have at least, I would say, for safe part, six gigs of RAM and GPU, graphics card. It's not that important because it's regular graphics. As long as you can watch a YouTube video on your machine, you should be fine. Because doing cloud work isn't heavy uh, video graphics. Unless you're doing like a video graphic design for a gaming company or something like that in the cloud. But other than that, just your basic graphics card that can watch a YouTube video without skipping. Um, but definitely your RAM is what you want to take care of. So like do like 6 gigs. Six gigs of memory RAM. Because especially you're going to do a lot of calls, and calls is like video virtual. And if you're doing calls and you're working, sharing your screen, it's a lot going on, and your laptop needs to allocate that memory to those memory resources. So 6 gigs of RAM, regular graphics card, latest Windows, anything Windows 11 or up is pretty good because most softwares have patches and updates for Windows 11, and just about any Linux, especially current Linux OS, Red Hat, and then Mac OS, of course. I appreciate that, Rich. All right, I got one more question in me, then I'm getting out of here because I'm tired of standing up. I am beat. We had been at this for at least an hour and 30. I was having a conversation about this with my sister, how difficult it is to communicate or with tech or business people. Put me in a room. I'm like a drunk. I'm like a duck drowning. How should I break this ice? By making the conversations more casual and making more casual connections instead of trying to force connections and make it more so business objective. Business objective meaning this is a person who knows the best certifications, or this is a person that knows the jobs is hiring, or this is the person that knows the plug, or this person that got vouchers, or this is the person like this. Meet just casually find somebody who's making posts that you're interested in, and literally DM them about their posts. Not all the time, but just occasionally. Hey, I saw that you posted this. I'm not a public person like that, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. Da da da. You will be surprised how interesting people find that because it doesn't happen a lot and it's gonna set you apart. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a girl that DM me all the time about my posts. Yeah, I know her. What's up? What you need help with? Yeah, come over here. Hey, I'm working on this. Wanted to see if you was interested in da 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 da. Boom. You're networking and you're going places with it. So start there until you start building up the confidence and you start developing your own personal script of how to talk to people. It'll help you kind of get your training wheels under your feet of how to network with people. Just find common interests, and not just random posts, but this post that you relate to and you really have a thought on, you really have an idea or perspective on, you might be a little bit of passionate about, and you can talk to that person with, and just send them a message, and it's most cases they will respond, some cases they won't respond. Just don't take it personal, but just keep trying it until you build more confidence at being able to, get better at networking with people because it is a skill and it does take time. I've been doing this since about 21. I remember this vividly driving, leaving, going to work, going downtown. I was like 18, 19, had my own car, bought my own car, and driving down to the city. And I remember saying, man, one day I'm gonna be a well-known, powerful man in this city who knows a lot of people. Because I didn't know anybody. I only had one best friend. I come from a poor family. Nobody was successful. Success was like owning a bakery to me at the time. That's how non-successful my family was. So I didn't know anybody, but I said, I'm gonna make a name for myself in this city. And I would say over the time, I have done that by just focusing in on networking. I've built networking skills just through the years. It takes time. You got to give yourself time. And I've done it all mainly by just finding common connections and where I can pay for it. I'll pay for a one-on-one coaching session. I'll pay for attend a seminar or what have you. And like, I'll buy something, if, at that time when I had it, but there was definitely times where I didn't have it. And I had to, like I told you all earlier, I had to be ingenuitive and you got to be ingenuitive, you know, but all it takes at the end of the day is just effort. It's like anything. You got to keep training it. Yeah, well, getting y'all here is a part of networking. I don't know how y'all found me or whatever, but you found something interesting enough to keep joining in and tuning in, subscribe to the channel, which I appreciate. Y'all, we really got 1,600 subscribers. That's crazy. I remember when this page just had 13 subscribers, and I was just throwing it out there, just trying to help. So again, it's a part of networking, it's a part of building that skill, and you can do the same and even go further. So CCNA AZ4 to break in the cloud faster. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Joe. That CCNA strong. That can get you in there on its own. But we don't just want you to rely on just on its own. We want you to have highly competitive advantage. So CCNA, absolutely. AZ104, absolutely. Together, you will be a networking beast. You can go for all types of cloud networking roles, even if they say they want 3, 4 years of experience. Apply anyway, because you're going to qualify. They're going to look at your credentials and say, oh, he has 2 premier certifications. One a premier networking certification, another one premier cloud administration certification. Yeah, let's at least interview him and see what he's about. And then that's when you sell him on your story. See, a lot of you all don't know a crucial part of building your networking skills builds your social skills in your interviews because you're knowing how to you go from networking on a broad scale outside to in your interviews you're building rapport immediately within the first 2 to 3 minutes. Like I've literally built networks of people with for jobs that I never got. Some I did get, but most I never got. But with professionals who just found me interesting, or we connected on things, and it wasn't all just tech related. It'd be like sports, or it'd be like being from the country, being from the south. It can be like music interests. It can be from entertainment interests, etc. You know, sports interests. Like you learn, the networking goes. That's why I said your social skills are going to get you further than your technical skills. Being successful and highly productive in this industry is 20%, 20% technical and 80% non-technical, 80% social. So, all right, I got one more question in me. Yeah, I got one more question. Shoot, 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 shoot. Who got it? Who got it? What you got? What you got? Show me what you got for a pork chop. All right, going once, going twice. Nobody. All right, cool. All right, well that's cool. I think I did my job for the night. I think um give me some ones in the chat if I gave you some great value tonight, if you learned something tonight, if you felt your time with me tonight on Tech at Night was valuable, give me some ones in the chat. If you didn't think it was valuable, you thought it was a complete waste of your time, you don't even know why I got on tonight. Give me some twos, you know. I'll take both. You hear me? Good, great feedback on both ends. You hear me? Oh man, appreciate that. Appreciate that skill. Appreciate that, man. You appreciate that. All right, cool. So that means I am gonna come back next week then. All right. So, all right. I'm gonna let y'all get out of here, but let y'all know we do have Winter Boot Camp coming up. I'm gonna be posting a lot of content soon. If you're on my newsletter, you're gonna start seeing content soon. We just did a great Winter Boot Camp, man. I just want to say real quick, I've been so excited about it because this summer, for the very first time, I took on teenagers. All right. I've never worked with teenagers in a tech capacity before. I've mentored teenagers since I was 21, and it's usually at-risk youth, teenagers, and usually it's boys. But this case, I took on teenagers and dealt with specifically two teenage girls. One was 15, one was 18, and they had literally had them build a three-tier architecture, cloud architecture, and they did so within took them about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, which is extremely highly impressive because, and I showed them in a job ad that this is a senior level skill because it's literally a job ad that said that there's an Azure senior engineer, and one of the qualifications, the requirements was that that person know what a three-tier architecture is, and I had them build it. These are girls who built it like within 2 3 weeks, man. And it was beautiful to watch. And I'm gonna post all about it. They've been sharing their feedback about the boot camp. I've been posting it on the channel, but I haven't posted everything fully yet. But I will because it takes time to edit this stuff. And this boot camp takes a lot out of me because I give a lot of my time to my students. I don't even do tech at nights when I do my boot camp. So that should tell you. But if you're interested in joining our winter, I would say if you want to join our winter boot camp, still, it's for adults, but we welcome teenagers. I think during the summers we're going to specifically target teenagers in schools, what have you. But if you want to do winter boot camps and you're curious about and you're serious about going and switching it, converting into cloud tech, whether you're a IT desktop engineer and you want to switch into cloud tech, or you're a nurse, or you're a hairdresser, and you want to come get a part of these tech opportunities, sign up. bcloudengineers.com. It's on our website. If you have any questions, shoot me a question via DM or via email, info@bcloudengineers. But yeah, we're sign up starts August, which is next week, and enroll in class actually starts October. So we're in for a great time. I'm actually bringing on another engineer, hopefully a security engineer. So he's going to serve as a mentor as well. So yeah, cloud security engineers, cloud engineers, if you're specifically interested in acquiring those skills and certification training, with also we do some coding in there as well. So you're going to learn some programming training. Um, hey, B Cloud Engineers is where that. We're the best in the market, baby. Come get us, baby. We work hard, we work smart, and we fill up that resume, baby. So yeah, reach out to me, bcloudengineers.com, subscribe to the channel. And as always, appreciate y'all. And it's been beautiful. But I'm getting out of here. Y'all have a great night. All right.